Hello and welcome to yet another episode of How to Be a Great GM. Today we are answering a question that several of you have sent through, and that question is what to do when the party splits up. Now, this is going to happen. This is something that you need to realize as a game master. The party is invariably going to split up. And the most important thing to remember about the party splitting up is don't panic. Yes, you've now got 2 or 3 or possibly 4 separate groups running around in your world doing different things. Now, don't feel that you need to have 4 or 5 different sessions, one for each group. This is not necessary, and you're missing a great opportunity to prove just how great you are as a game master. So let's look at what to do when the party invariably splits. What you need to do fundamentally is think about your session more as a series of little cutaways. You've got to bounce from one party to the other party, back and back and back. Try and give them equal time. Let them go through several actions or engagements, but no more than 10 minutes per side. That's absolutely important. Something to bear in mind before we continue looking at how you're going to use your group is to remind the players about their contract with you, the game master. You are one person. They are 4 or 5 or 6 people sitting around a table. There is an agreement that exists, and if they don't know about it, point them to my video, How to Be a Great Player, where in this week we're looking at the exact same problem of what to do when the party you're part of splits up. And I talk about that game master contract that all players should have with you, the game master. So, assuming that they are working on that contract, bounce between the 2 groups. Bouncing allows you to really build up the tension. And this is the next part that you're going to capitalize on, is cliffhangers. You walk into the dungeon, you push open the door. In front of you is something that terrifies you. And what are you doing, group number 2? You're going to leave them on their edge of their seat as often as you can. It will keep them sitting there going, what is behind that door? Should we prepare something? Should we, I don't know what to do. We need to wait and find out for when it's our turn. So that will keep them waiting for you to bounce back to them. Cliffhangers are absolutely key to making it feel like you really are in control of this game. Now, the next thing that you need to do is you need to completely ignore time within the game. It becomes very difficult for you to go, well, you guys have been climbing up a cliff and you guys have been sitting in a bar, you've had one conversation with an NPC, so you're 5 foot above the ground. You've had a second conversation with an NPC, you're now 8 foot above the ground. No, that's absolutely ridiculous. You have a conversation with the NPC which only takes you 5 minutes, but in your side of the world, in your situation, wherever your action is taking place, you've had an entire half day. Obviously, cycles are important. If they're at night, then the other guys should be at night. If they're during the day, the time should be malleable enough that things stay roughly in sequence, but that you're not restricted to this slow time happening versus that fast time. So ignore time in your game. This then brings me to how exactly do we control the sense of time happening? When you are in a non-combat type of situation, just bounce around. It doesn't matter about time. When you're in a combat situation, though, this is where you change things. And now, suddenly, everybody's in some kind of rolling situation. This requires you to orchestrate things a little bit and to be aware of what's coming up. But as soon as Party A enters into combat, Party B, if there is no combat available, should enter into some kind of skill challenge or some kind of situation that requires them to make rolls. Because what this allows you to do is say, everybody, I need to know your initiative, your reaction modifier, your turn sequence number. Even though they're in separate parties or in multiple different parties, you still categorize them according to their role of action or however your game system works, and you work through it so that's bouncing. You strike at the villain, you start climbing up that rope towards the ceiling in a completely different part of the city, and you engage the starship engines to take you towards the planet. Make a roll, make a roll, make a roll. You succeed, you fail, you succeed. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? It allows you to bounce between the guys and to keep them all on the edge of their seat. Cannot wait to see what happens. It also means that you don't have people sitting there going, oh look, they're on roll 422 of this combat in which I'm not participating. It's very dull. Yay, you succeeded. Are you dead yet? Can it be my turn now? No, you don't want to do that. You want to keep everybody doing similar stuff. If they're talking, they should be doing non-combat stuff. If they're in combat, they should be in role-based stuff, whether it's combat, if applicable, or a skill check. Like I said, you've got to come up with ways to keep them all rolling so that everyone gets that sense that yes, we're separated, yes, we're apart, but we're all sitting around a table and we're all rolling dice to try and succeed. It almost becomes their success in combat should hopefully be their success in a skill check or a skill challenge or a proficiency challenge or whatever it's called. This makes you a great GM, is getting everybody, although they're separate, to feel as if they're in the same game and to feel as if they all are participating in this grand story that revolves around the entire party. Now, on that point of making them roll and re-roll and that kind of thing, another thing that's very important is to remind them that they should not use character knowledge versus player knowledge. So the player knowledge is, I'm hearing what you're doing. I'm hearing that you're in combat whilst I'm outside. That doesn't mean I should now try and hurry to get inside if I have not been doing so. So if they start to do that, oh, you're in combat and we're outside in the car. I get out of the car and run up to the door with my gun drawn. Why? You have no hearing of what's going on inside. You don't know that. Come up with a better reason for getting out of the car. You want to go and pee. You want to stretch your legs. You want to get a donut from the coffee shop. Whatever the case might be, then you as GM have the opportunity to then bring them together by saying, you hear a gunshot coming from inside the hallway, or this or that or the next thing. This allows you to then bring the party together, and that should be something that you are working out in the back of your mind whilst they're busy doing some skill check or they're engaging with each other trying to figure out a plan. You should be trying to figure out about how to bring them back together, preferably in a dramatic way, but ignore, and this is the important thing, ignore geography. Time is not important, geography is not important. Yes, the party is on this side of the castle and on that side of the castle, but this side of the castle is losing their battles horribly and they're all about to die. So the very next door that this party opens, let's call them Party B for easy example, Party B sees a long corridor with one door at the very end. Party A, you're busy fighting orcs, you're busy dying, you're busy falling over, you need healing. Party A walks down the corridor. Party B, you're busy dying, you need to make a survival check or whatever. Party A, you open the door. Party B, something opens the door. Party A, you see your companions. If you get a player who says, excuse me, I know that the castle's actually 5 miles long and we were on the one side and they were on the other side and it should take us about 42 turns to get from point A to point B, and so we shouldn't be there until they've all died. Really, you shouldn't be there until they've all died. Yes, you're quite right. The party dies. What a pity. And they have you to thank for it. Well done. That's how you handle people who try and stuff around with you trying to tell a good story. There should be no leniency for people who are trying to use some kind of physics or geography in a role-playing game based on imagination where you have fire-breathing dragons or starships that travel faster than the speed of light or zombies. There are certain things that one must simply accept, And I do cover this on how to be a good player in terms of the GM contract. So ignore geography. Use the difference, use the separation of the parties to your advantage rather than being intimidated by it. If party A needs some kind of help, party B is merely a doorway, an archway, and several steps away. It's not that hard to twist and bend things. Another useful technique is to threaten the players' characters, not the actual players themselves. Please never threaten your players. Threaten their characters. You hear a low rumbling growl coming from down that corridor. Are you sure you want to proceed on your own whilst the rest of the party with all the magical equipment is elsewhere? As you approach the door, the growling gets louder. Make a nature check. Oh, you realize that's a growl from something that's about 12 foot in size and is definitely a predator. You really want to go through that door on your own. Okay, as you start to push the door open, the stench of death washes over you. You can see corpses lying everywhere, dressed in full armor. Yet the creature seems elusive, growling and warning you not to approach. You still want to approach. Good, you open the door. Please make a reflex saving throw. Oh, you failed because, well, the number was 422,000. You die horribly and alone. Your party will find your scorched, burnt corpse later, and I hope that they simply use it for kindling in their campfire. Players need to understand that if they're going off on their own and they are going into situations that literally you have been warning them on and they continue to push forward, well, I'm sorry, but there is just no way that you as the GM have any obligation to keep them alive. Teach them that lesson. This is a collective game. If you wanted to play a solo game, that's fine, and that's a different video. In a party game, part of that contract is that you need to work together. There is no single hero here, and you need to reinforce that from time to time. So, if we look at the benefits of the party splitting up, it allows you to tell a more dramatic story by having those cliffhangers. It allows you to make the party feel as if they won by making their dice rolls become part of the initiative order or the sequence of events in the round or whatever system you might be using. It allows you to create tension, and it allows you to have characters have these heroic moments where they burst in at just the last moment to save their companions. It really becomes a great tool, and when players split up, I look at it as an opportunity of, aha, now we can bring them together as they have never been brought together before, because we can allow the one group to save the other group. And if that requires you to orchestrate a certain amount of really hard enemies for the one group to face, who perhaps always have the limelight, and the other group now can come in and save the day, well, that's even better. It simply allows everybody to feel as if they are contributing towards this remarkable role-playing group that has been put together. I hope this has been helpful in a little way on how to handle it when your party splits up, to relish it, to enjoy it, and to use it to your best advantage to make sure that you are seen as truly a great GM. Until next time, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you want us to carry on doing this kind of stuff, and give us feedback on what you think of the green screen usage. We got a lot of it last time. We have taken some things into account. As you can see, I am seated, and we would love to hear your feedback as always. Until next time, happy gaming.